Talia was the lowest of the low, an omega, beaten, starved, too weak to even shift. When the most powerful alpha in the realm came to marry the pack's cruel princess, it was supposed to unite an unstable realm. Everything changed the moment Talia accidentally walked in on them. Princess Marcy's jeweled hand cracked across Talia's face, carving a ring-shaped bruise into her cheek. Talia was resigned to the abuse. An omega, a lowly servant, an orphan she-wolf too weak to shift.
Talia bit the inside of her cheek while considering her options. One was staying at the Red Moon Pack. Anna's bullying was escalating and Marcy started picking on her also. Yesterday, Marcy came into the attic and Talia got a for something she didn't do. The second option was to go to the Dark Howlers Pack. Alpha Damon said that in his pack people were accepted. Could it be worse than here? Probably not. Of course, there was also the third option for Talia to leave on her own somewhere, but that option was scary and uncertain, and it will exist even if she goes with Alpha Damon. Damon saw that Talia was considering it, and he spoke with urgency before she could decline his offer. Grab your things. You only need to say that you reject the Red Moon Pack and Edward Redmayne as your alpha, and the mind link will break. With that, you are free to go, and they can't find you. Talia shook her head. I don't have the mind link. Alpha Edward's father brought me here as a child, and I never went through the ceremony. Good! Damon exclaimed louder than intended. She doesn't belong anywhere, and he was more than happy to give her a home. With him. Get your things. Just like that? Damon nodded. Just like that. Talia paused and decided to ask the question that was bothering her from the moment he came to the attic. How do I know that you are not tricking me? Damon stood up and Talia felt chills surround her when his body separated from hers. He extended his hand toward Talia, palm up. Let me prove it to you. She looked into his icy blue eyes that stared at her with anticipation and she believed him. How come you are leaving so suddenly? Alpha Edward asked while rushing to catch up to Caden and Maya, who were descending the stairs with a suitcase each. How am I supposed to know? Caden grumbled in the mind link for Maya to hear. Something unexpected happened and we need to leave. Maya lied with a straight face. Actually, it was not a lie. Neither Maya nor Caden knew what was going on, other than that Damon told them that they were leaving. Since they arrived at the Red Moon Pack, Damon's mood was all over the place. Caden and Maya lost count of how many times Damon told them that they were leaving, only to change his mind shortly after that. However, they never reached the point of actually packing their things, so Caden and Maya believe that this is it, and they will finally return home and find some sense of normalcy. Earlier that morning, Damon woke them up through the mind link with instructions that Caden should park the car on the side of the pack house, pack their things, Damon's included, tell Alpha Edward that they are leaving, and meet with Damon outside, in that order. Damon also included a clause about how all that needs to be completed within 15 minutes. Maya and Caden agreed that Damon finally lost his marbles, but they were happy to return home with the hope that Damon's mood would stabilize because everything crazy started since they arrived at the Red Moon Pack. Just as Caden and Maya reached the main door with Alpha Edward hot on their tails, Marcy dashed out of her room while pulling a robe over her nightgown. Her father told her to get downstairs as soon as possible, so she didn't have time to dress up. Damon waited for them outside, leaning on the car that was now in front of the pack house. Just as Caden was going to the trunk to keep the suitcases, Damon told him through their mind link, keep the suitcases in the back seat and start the car. Caden did as he was told without objections. Damon turned to Alpha Edward. Something came up and we need to return to our pack. What about finalizing the marriage agreement between you and Marcy? Damon glanced at Marcy, who looked at him anxiously while clutching her robe. Agreeing to a marriage with Marcy was out of the question. But Damon knew that if he said that, hell would break loose, and he would need to do damage control. Damon wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. However, leaving without an explanation might cause problems as well. Luckily, he thought about this, and his farewell speech was ready. Alpha Edward, Damon spoke solemnly. Marriage is a commitment for life. We shouldn't decide after only a day or two. Miss Marcy and I met, and now we should take some time to think about our interactions, expectations, and decide how we will proceed from here. No matter how eager we are to conclude this matter, a successful Alpha and Luna should know that some things can't be rushed. Alpha Edward wanted to object, but what should he say? That he wanted to rush his only daughter into marrying a guy she'd just met 2 days ago? Without anything good to say at that time that would solidify the marriage between Marcy and Damon, Alpha Edward responded with a stiff nod. Damon raised his hand, giving a sharp wave before going to the back seat, next to the suitcases. "Drive," Damon told Caden as soon as he closed the door behind him. "Are we finally leaving?" Caden asked while driving down the driveway. "Did you pack all my stuff?" Caden nodded. Caden and Maya were glad to leave as well, so they didn't question Damon's abrupt decision to pack and head out. They only feared that he would change his mind again and ask them to go back. Back at the Red Moon Pack, in Alpha Edward's study. "Are you sure that nothing happened? You didn't offend him?" Alpha Edward asked Marcy, who looked at him helplessly. It's not that the scene itself was an issue. After all, werewolves are promiscuous by nature, and Damon and Marcy were to be married. However, Damon barely acknowledging her existence after that was a problem. A big one. "I told you, Daddy. After dinner, he said that he was tired, and he went to his room. He doesn't like to be disturbed, so I waited in the lounge on the first floor in case he came out. But he didn't, so I went to sleep. The next thing I know, you woke me up through the mind link in order to come out because he was leaving. It must be that something happened in the Dark Howlers Pack during the night." Alpha Edward exhaled in frustration. No matter how he looked at it, Damon escaped. He had issues bringing him here the first time, and getting him here a second time would be even more challenging. He wanted to scold Marcy for incompetence, but it seemed that she didn't do anything to offend Alpha Damon, so he swallowed it down. "I want you to stay in touch with Alpha Damon. He left, but the two of you are officially in a relationship. Act like a girlfriend. Text him, call him, make sure he doesn't forget about you. And if he finds a way to get out of this marriage, it will be on you. Do you understand?" Marcy nodded. If marriage between her and Damon didn't happen, she would be punished. She thought that this was it, but then Alpha Edward raised his index finger. 1 week. "For?" Marcy asked reluctantly. "If in 1 week there is no progress, you will go to the Dark Howlers Pack and don't you dare return without a wedding date. If you do your moves right, you won't return at all. But we will come for the Luna ceremony." "Yes, Father," Marcy responded, and she didn't hesitate when Alpha Edward waved that she could leave. Marcy faked confidence in front of her father, but now that she was on her own, Marcy was deflated. If Damon ignored her in person, how was she supposed to get his attention long distance? 1 week was too short. Did she really need to go to the Dark Howlers Pack in order to seduce him? She had the home territory advantage and failed. Trying something at the Dark Howlers Pack will only make it more difficult. Marcy wondered if she offended Damon somehow. He seemed interested, but then he wasn't. Marcy concluded that she probably hurt his ego. No woman rejected Alpha Damon, and even though she wanted to do some things, she rejected him.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.